This is Hkhs Sport, bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping the foot on the what? On the necks. We keeping the foot on the what? On the necks. And like the Tibetan mastiff that I am, I'm applying what? Unlimited pressure. As pressure does what? It bursts its pipes. Let's talk about it now. You see, when Hkhs Sport addresses something, it's because Hkhs Sport has been unctioned, dog, to tell you these guys, tell you this stuff. I'm not telling you something because it sounds cute. I'm not telling you something because it makes sense to you. I'm telling you something because it is what it is. We have to peel the layers of the onion, and we have to start asking ourselves these underlying questions, and we have to start asking ourselves these underlying truths. Are the people that are speaking to you, the people that are professing these messages to you, are they really what they are? Are they really transformers? Are they really more than meets the eyes? And if you are left with a glaring answer to where you have to tell yourselves that you have to question what the person is saying, then you have to start asking fundamental questions. You see, the Ldbc, they have a tendency to use hyperbole, right? But they use it for all of the wrong reasons. They have a tendency to use nifty jargon. This is what we call finstraddler or finstraddleization, betaization. You know, because to be a finstraddler, you have to be a beta at the core to do that. Fanon, International Boxing Channel. This guy interviewed the True Spence Sr. This guy has professed in Pharisee and Sadducee form that he was an the True Spence fan. He's been criticizing Terrence Bud Crawford left and right. Now, all of a sudden, with your Dennis Ugas, the True Spence, Derrick James is giving you some kind of bravado as if Derrick James is either feeling that your Dennis Ugas is a guy that can give the True Spence problems. He's a trainer. You Rudy Poo and Plum Plum Rain. He's a trainer. You classic Doden Troglodyte. He's a trainer. You ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. A lot of these people that are talking to you guys, they don't know too much about boxing, man. They give you a similitude as if they do, but they lack the fullness thereof. Boxing trainers are wired that way, to respect their opponents. Their job is to ground their fighters. If Derrick James did not have the mentality that he had, the True Spence would not have the success rate that he had. What I said was so deep and profound. Let me let that marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me, freaking well. If Derrick James did not have the humility that he had, if Derrick James was not the trainer that he was, and always respecting his opponent, that his fighter was going to fight in front of him, what is he saying that's not cold-hearted? What is he saying that's not unadulterated? What is he saying that's not the cutthroat true color fashion that's associated with your Dennis Ugas? Your Dennis Ugas is a Cuban background amateur pedigree fighter. Your Dennis Ugas made Sean Porter not even consider fighting him a second time. Your Dennis Ugas is a guy who has reachability. He's lanky. And to be honest with you guys, if you guys were following the thumb, the wave, and the needle of the damn situation that Hkhs Sport was telling you guys, then you guys would understand that this fight is better served at 154. It's a waste of space at 147. Hkhs Sport understands why you guys want this fight at 147, because Hkhs Sport could see that you guys want the True Spence to collect all of the belts. But it shouldn't be off of the expense of your Dennis Ugas. If it has to be, it has to be. It should be Manny Pacquiao. Because Manny Pacquiao needs to be properly retired. He needs to be filling out his AARP card. He needs to sit here and be an AARP retirement Pac-Man style. But I done told you guys, man, if these guys were so called about their black fighters, they would have put pressure. They would have unlimited pressure on Manny Pacquiao. How come Hkhs Sport and a select few individuals outside of Hkhs Sport is doing this? Unlimited pressure on Manny Pacquiao. Look who Manny Pacquiao gets to fight. The True Spence leftovers and Mikey Garcia. Why isn't the boxing community fan bases going uproar about that? You see what I'm saying? because they are reverse biased. They are detractors and they are panderers. And what did Hkhs Support told you about pandering narratives? They have a ceiling cap. Once it goes up, it must come tumbling down. Pandering narratives have a ceiling cap, man. But in this instance, the pandering narratives that these guys gave you, of course, when we sit here and look at the delineation, we look at the gulf, we look at the separation, we look at everything that's put in front of us, we see something that does not make any damn sense. And you know what it is that don't make any damn sense? Why, fundamentally, why unquestionably, and why inarguably is Fanon now asking these undercurrent and underlying questions? It's because this is what he always felt. See, the Ldbc organization is a smoke and mirrors organization. It's an organization that gives you the similitude as if they are about their own people, but they lack the fullness thereof. They are divided, man. It's divide and conquer, man. So they're not about their people like you guys think that they are. This is a Pharisee mentality. This is the Sadducee mentality. To make you think that they are holy, but they are actually the opposite. You know, inwardly, they appeared as whited, you know, or whitewashed tombstones, right? But outwardly, outwardly they appeared as whitewashed or white, you know, fixated tombstones. But inwardly, they're filled with dead men's bones, man. This means that there is nothing clean about them. When you say dead men's bones, you're talking about the uncleanliness, the decomposition of a human being's body to the point to where it degrades to bones. This is what Fanon is, man. He is a Pharisee. He is a Sadducee. And what you guys are seeing as Hkhs Support keeps peeling the layers of the onion is these guys are not transformers. They are not more than meets the eyes. But you got too many brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads that are not asking these questions. Why the shots at Earl the True Spence? Why the shots at Derek James? Oh, but did you understand what Fanon said? I don't need to watch his video, man. If I watch his video, I'm going to lose brain cells. The title in of itself tells you everything you need to know. If you are a fan of somebody and you say you've been rooting for that person, then you need to be consistent. You need to be authentic. You need to be unquestionably men and women with confidence, purpose, and an abundance mindset. You need to be 1,000 about yours. You can't, on one hand, all this time uproaring about Earl the True Spence and saying that Terrence Buck Crawford is ducking, and then out of nowhere you mention you Dennis Ugas. Clearly what it says is that you're a ravening wolf. Clearly what it says is that you are really a Bud Man fan, but you're intermingling and masking yourself. You are misting yourself into sheep's clothing, i.e. a fake as fuck Earl the True Spence fan. Because you wouldn't ask Derek James that question. Earl the True Spence not earned enough heavyweight lifting. He should earn enough from the boxing community fan bases to where some questions are just, forget me saying dodo head. They just dumb as fuck, man. Because that's what dodo head is. It's just a Hkhs Support way of saying dumb as fuck. It's just dumb. You Dennis Ugas, I like him. But you Dennis Ugas can't hold no damn candle to Earl the True Spence. None of these welters can, man. Earl the True Spence is a megalodon shark. He has no predators. He is the predator. And this speaks to the volumes of what Hkhs Support said when he said, and a prediction king strikes again. And a prediction king strikes again. That these guys here, man, all they want to do is make it so hard for Earl the True Spence. Earl the True Spence would jump 20 jump ropes. They'll tell him to jump another 20. But Terrence Buck Crawford, the Chihuahua, walking behind the damn fence. They're telling Earl the True Spence he needs to take 50-50. Didn't Hkhs Support tell you this? And the prediction king strikes. And the prediction king strikes again. That these guys are trying in so many different facets, so many different variations, and so many different dichotomies. Now they're desperate. So now they're using the most intelligent person they have in their group, which is this Fanon International Boxing Channel. But see, Hkhs Support is more intelligent than him. Hkhs Support is more mentally savvy than this guy. So he sees right through his nonsense. When you do the hyperbole of asking the question, because Beta Shop Instigations failed miserably when he did it, Blue Blood Sports TV or Blue Finch Straddling TV failed miserably when they do it. Because these guys right here, they just peon brains. They're not really that bright. They're giving you this impression that they're more than what they are, but they're really not. So now they had to go to their trump card. They had to go to Fanon. Because the pedo goon, whatever the fuck his name is, BFTB, this guy right here, I mean, when you listen to this guy, your ears want to just want to bleed. That's how much this guy just, it's too much going on with this guy. We don't know if he wants to be a pedophile. We don't know if he wants to be a goon. How are you a pedo goon? That just don't make no sense. I didn't know that dichotomy ever existed. A pedophile and a goon mixed together. You can't fall off of the swine of Sodom and Gomorrah, because the guy looks like, he's just, reeking out of pork chops and shit like that. These people are not people that you can fall under because they've showed you their clear bias. Is Deontay Wilder a bust? Devin Haney a bust? So now they're going off of Fanon because Fanon was the one that was able to get the interview with Earl the True Smith Sr. So now they're trying to get credibility. But see, this is where it gets shot down. Because if you are about being credible, right? The smart thing that you would have done to hide your ravening wolf, even though Hkhs Support is a three-dimensional thinker and he operates as the seer and the prophet that he is, because he is this generation's seer and prophet, I would have still saw right through it. I'd have been like, oh, okay, he done went all the way. He done got extra slick with it. You could have just basically still serve and hold court and say, Dennis Hkhs is a tough competitor. You know what I'm saying? He could give Earl the True Smith fits, but Earl the True Smith should prevail. But I would have still knew those intentions that you had. But you made it very clear. Should Earl give 50-50? Why are you asking these questions? The resume speaks volumes, man. Anyone that's been following boxing knows there shouldn't be no fucking 50-50 between Earl the True Smith and Terrence McCrawford. I mean, you got to be living under a rock or something, man. You got to be crawling out of some damn hole that you crawled your rabbit ass up out of for you to even ask that stupid ass question. And then to ask another question. Oh, is Dennis Hkhs? Is Derek James see weakness? Is Derek James afraid? Are you serious? Do you smell any ounce of fear off of Earl the True Smith with Dennis Hkhs? It's respect. Because Earl the True Smith, just like Dennis Hkhs, they both handled Sean Porter. They did it differently. Earl the True Smith made Sean Porter bend the proverbial fucking knee. Dennis Hkhs just beat him up in a very gentleman class bending of the proverbial fucking knee status. This is why he knows his sport. If you guys always see, he's always on the thumb, the needle in the damn situation when he told you guys that these guys are double boogeymen of the welterweight division. Now you guys are seeing that. You guys are understanding what he knows his sport was talking about. These are the two hardest opponents at the welterweight division because of the litany of fits and the different kind of package they bring to you. But don't get that shit twisted. Dennis Hkhs, as much of a fit that he can give Earl the True Smith, he still don't belong on those levels. And like Meek Mill say, there's levels to this stuff. There's gears. See, the problem is these so-called black community fan bases, they didn't want to accept the fact that there was another guy that was an error-filled fighter after Floyd Money Mayweather. They didn't want that. They already hate Floyd as much as it is. They hate the whole aura of one guy has to be lording over a situation. One guy has to be so fucking dominant while everybody else has to bend the proverbial fucking knee to that one guy. And they couldn't stand that. They couldn't stand what that meant. They couldn't stand what that is all about. They couldn't stand the fact that that just didn't make no freaking sense to them. So you know what they did? They went ahead and spit on that idealism. And because Earl the True Smith, like Kobe Bryant, because nobody saw Kobe Bryant coming right after Michael Jordan. I didn't see it coming, but he came immediately after MJ 2-3, yup. It's the same thing when you think about it with Earl the True Smith. This is why Earl the True Smith, now people are seeing what he knows his sport was talking about when he says, and a prediction king strikes again, and a prediction king strikes again. That Earl the True Smith has that Kobe Bryant polarization dichotomy. They're polarized individuals, man. They damned if they do and they damned if they don't. Their greatness personification can continuously give you greatness personification, but their greatness personification always has to be hindered. And what did Hkhs Sport told you guys? Greatness personification can only be hindered. The motherfucker can't be stopped. And these guys' greatness personification is always being hindered because people don't want to accept the fact that there is one person that actually lords over and dominates the competition. This is what Earl the True Smith's mission statement is. He said it in the first pressure with Sean Porter. I'm going to lord over and dominate the whole damn division. This is exactly what he did. The way he beat up Danny Garcia. We have not seen Danny Garcia been systematically beat down that way. And boxing community fan bases are questioning this. Suppose that we're going to be about our own black community fan bases are now questioning this. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, Why are you questioning this? What question do you need to be asking about the True Spence when he keeps proving to you fight after fight, heavyweight after heavyweight lifting, and opponent after opponent that he's bulldozing them, he's steamrolling them, and he's plowing through them? So you think your Dennis Ugas is going to be any different? No, he's not. But now you're going to say that Derrick James sees weakness. Well, isn't that what Roger Mayweather used to do? Roger Mayweather was the one doing the film study while Floyd wasn't even paying attention. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was the one doing the film study. They always showed their opponents respect. Don't matter how great you are. If you don't show your opponent respect, you Rudy Poo and Plum Brain. If you don't show your opponent respect, you classic Doden Troglodyte. If you don't show your opponent respect, you ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric, your opponent can get the best of you. Especially in a sport of boxing where that has to be your premise. It has to be the body and it has to be the conclusion. It has to be basically your whole vision and mission statement of you as a fighter. This is what makes you a complete package fighter. This is what makes you an error-filled fighter. Respecting your opponent, no matter the level. Because at any given night, it's like football. Any given Sunday, if you're not clicking on all cylinders, because one thing that boxing and football has is assembly. I'm going to ride a little bit on this one because I have to break this shit down. The one thing that they have together is football is a sport of inches and distance. And it takes being in the wrong spacing. It takes making the wrong play. It takes running the wrong route that can cost a game. It's the same thing with boxing. Not, you know what I'm saying, pivoting off of your toe at the right pivotal juncture that can get you knocked out. Not slipping the punch that can get you potentially damaged, that can get you to get CTE protocol or brain damage. Not understanding that because you're measuring inches and distance in the pugilistic sport of boxing, anything can happen. So at any given moment, any opponent can dominate another. So what is wrong in Derrick James showing ultimate respect for his opponent? You see, this is what he knows the sport is talking about. If you're going to be about your own, then be 1,000% about your own. Otherwise, leave it alone. This is why the Ldbc is a smoke and mirrors organization. And this is why the man above has unctioned He Knows the Sport to be their Genghis Khan. To levy out the punishment to them from God. To basically get after them for their Pharisee, copycat, Fire Marshal Bill, Pedo Goon, Sodom and Gomorrah, and freaking finstratalization sins. Because they've committed too much of them, man. And what they're doing is they're creating a culture of blind leading the blind into the ditch. They have made a black community fan base that's already so divisive even more divisive. Having their black women perpetrate themselves on OnlyFans. Do you know how degrading that is, man? That you should be leaving that shit to other races, man. You're gonna take your black queens and degrade them down to OnlyFans, and to have your members, this is how blind the blind is leading the blind into the ditch, sit there and pay for this shit and watch these women be ridiculed to a level of lasciviousness, to a level of lustfulness, and to a level of basically them selling their souls through their bodies, man. But they're about their own. And they're making money off of you. And then to turn around and to take these real unapologetic brothers that are fighters and to spit on them. All because what? You didn't get no interview? Come on, man. Y'all gotta see right through this. Remove the mote from your eye so that you can see the truth that's associated behind what these folks are doing. Because it's very clear that they're using high levels of dupery, high levels of soothsaying, but they can't fool He Knows the Sport. Because He Knows the Sport is this modern day prophet and seer. So you can't fool them. See, I always knew that I had to gift the gap. I always knew that God blessed me with all wisdom, all knowledge, and all understanding. But I didn't know it was going to be for this bigger mission. Even I didn't know that. But see, when the man above bestows you with so much abilities, he's going to, at some point, he's going to come and take you and take those abilities and use it for his purpose. I didn't know that. I had so many people over the years tell me, hey man, you got a bigger calling, dog. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're destined for greatness. You're destined for a level of greatness that the world ain't seen before. And this is your generation. They didn't understand that. But the more and more that I speak, the more and more that I serve to you guys, the more and more I'm coming to that understanding. And this group, this organization is a lion's den. And like Daniel, Hkhs Support went into the lion's den, left unscathed, and lions were tamed. And they will continuously be tamed. Because what these lions are doing is they are showcasing to you guys how evil they are, how unclean that they are, and how much of hypocrites that they are. They're telling you one thing, and then they're prostrating and protruding in another fashion. You guys got to open up your eyes, man. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is they're going to turn you into a reprobated state. And once you are a reprobate mind, there's no going back. Because now you're worthless. So you guys need to wake up and smell the coffee of the agenda that this organization is pushing. Because what they're pushing is not anything great. What they're pushing is something to create more division within their own community. Because they have high levels of people that have understands the high level of how to mentally whip you in a lot of different ways. This is why they have so many people in their sects, because they want to be able to govern your minds. They want to manipulate your minds in so many different fashions. But Hkhs Support sees right through all of their ways, man. And Hkhs Support is going to continually put it out there, because you guys need to wake up, man. And you guys need to pay attention to what's going on before your eyes. And what's going on before your eyes is nothing to bring your brethren up. It's actually the opposite, to build them down. When you talk bad about one brother to lift another brother up, how's that bringing your brethren up? When you are taking your black women and prostrating them and showcasing them as whores, showcasing them as Jezebels, how's that lifting them up, man? These black women already got to go through so much shit in society. And y'all motherfuckers just made it worse. When you sit here and you tell one side of the story from a boxing perspective, when we know the full story tells us the other, then how are you being authentic? How are you bringing your brethren up? See, the word lion's den is never meant to be something of good connotation. It's supposed to be a place that puts you into a place of adversity. It's supposed to put you into a place of mental bondage. It's supposed to put you into a physical prison, because when it does that, what it can do is now it can hijack your mind into what it wants to filter it as. And you guys need to be smarter. So now you need to ask yourself this question. All of this time that you've been listening to these guys, have they made the sport of boxing better? Or have they made it more divisive? This is the question that Hkhs Support is asking you to ask them. And if you come to the conclusion that they've made the sport of boxing more divisive, then they're no good for the sport of boxing. Now you need to ask yourself another question. Why is this organization even have a mission statement of purpose in the first place if they're not even following the so-called mission statement and the purpose that they have? You see where Hkhs Support is going with this? You talk a good game about Earl the True Spence, but yet you always spitting against him. You talk a good game about the Charlos, but yet you spitting against him. You talk a good game about Gervonta Tank Davis, but yet you spitting on him. You talk a good game about Floyd Money Mayweather, but yet you spitting on him. But with Deontay Wilder, everything goes. He can't do nothing wrong. Devin Haney, everything goes. He can't do nothing wrong. It's the things that make you say, It's the things that make you say, This is probably single-handedly the longest video that Hkhs Support has ever done from a boxing perspective. But it had to be done. Because He knows the sport had to reveal to you guys in its most visceral form of cold-heartedness, in its most visceral form of unadulteratedness, in its most visceral form of cutthroat, truth-telling fashion that's associated with it, that these guys are smoke and mirrors. That these guys are not transformers. They're not more than meets the eyes. They are an organization that is what we call a sham. A sham is something that is not the realness. It lacks the realness thereof. It's fake bravado. And if you guys don't ask yourselves these questions, and you guys don't test and try these spirits to know if they are of God, man, what's going to happen is you're going to allow yourself to be hijacked. The most precious thing a human being can have is time. And these folks know that. So every time that they use hijacking your brain is that much more you go into a reprobated mindset. And guess what happens with that? That's that much more worthless you become. Notice you've been donating to this platforms. You've been donating to their organization, but yet you still stay the pawn while they become rooks, knights, bishops, kings, and queens. It's the things that make you say, It's the things that make you say, So y'all got to start asking yourselves these underlying questions and start asking yourselves these underlying truths. Is this a real organization? Or like the Pharisees, were they hypocrites and shams all along? I keeps the foot on the what? On the Hkhs. I keeps the foot on the what? On the Hkhs. When it's all said and done, questions need to be asked about the Ldbc. And you guys need to ask that question. Are they for real? Or as Hkhs Sport told you in its most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, are they smoke and mirrors? I keeps the foot re-foot on the what? On the Hkhs. I keeps the re-foot on the what? On the Hkhs. When it's all said and done, until they clean their acts and get it fully together and get their affairs in order, then all I can hear after every morning meditation and prayer, get them, because I will smite them. Let me say it again. Get them, so I will smite them. This is Hkhs Sport. Check it out.
Go ahead, he knows.